What if I told you that love and sacrifice aren't always the same thing? That sometimes what we call helping is actually hurting? Today we're diving into the classic fairy tale, The Fisherman and His Wife, a story that reveals the warning signs of codependency, and we'll hear from both the fisherman and his wife, each trapped in their own toxic patterns.
I never wanted much, just the sea, my net, and a quiet life. But the day I caught that enchanted fish and let it go, everything changed. I didn't ask for a reward, but my wife, she saw opportunity. Ask for a cottage, she said. I thought, well, why not? If it makes her happy, and for a moment it did. But happiness never lasted long with her. First it was a cottage, then a castle. Then she wanted to be queen. And every time she asked, I went back to the sea, back to that fish, feeling smaller with each demand. But what could I do? She's my wife. It's my job to provide, right? I told myself I was just being kind, that it wasn't my place to say no. But deep down, I knew. I wasn't doing this for her happiness. I was doing it because I was afraid. Afraid she wouldn't love me if I didn't give her what she wanted. Afraid that standing up for myself would mean losing her. And so, I kept going back. Even when the sea turned black and the fish's eyes seemed to pity me. Even when I knew it would all come crashing down, because saying no felt impossible.
At first, I thought he understood me. He saw how we lived so small, so limited. When he brought me the cottage, I felt hope for the first time. But then I realized it wasn't enough. It was never enough. Every time he granted my wish, the happiness faded. The cottage felt cramped. The castle felt cold. Even when I was queen, I still felt empty. It wasn't the things I wanted. It was more. More power, more security, more proof that I mattered. And he never stopped me. He always gave in. And that's what made it worse. If he had just said no, if he had stood firm, maybe I would have stopped. Maybe I would have seen the truth. But he kept feeding my hunger, and I kept taking, until the sea swallowed it all, leaving us right back where we started. Only now, I had nothing, not even the illusion that more could ever be enough.
At first, this seems like a story about greed, but look closer and you'll see a textbook example of codependency. So let's break it down. Sign 1. People-pleasing. The fisherman ignores his own feelings to avoid conflict. Sign 2. Over-responsibility. He feels it's his job to keep his wife happy, no matter the cost. Sign 3. Loss of identity. His wants, his needs, they don't even exist anymore. Sign 4. Fear of rejection. He keeps going back to the fish, even though he knows it's wrong. Sign 5. Anxiety over setting boundaries. He never says enough, he just gives in. Sign 6. Walking on eggshells. The moment his wife is unhappy, he scrambles to fix it. At no point does the fisherman say, "What do I want?" Codependent people lose their sense of self in relationships. They define themselves by what their partner, parent, or friend needs, rather than their own desires, dreams, or boundaries. That's why, when the fish finally refuses and everything crumbles, the fisherman is left with nothing. Not just no wealth, but no self. So what can we learn from this? You can learn to say no. Your worth isn't measured by how much you sacrifice for others. Recognize that you are not responsible for other people's emotions. Support them, yes. Carry their entire emotional world, no. Ask yourself, what do I really want? If you don't know, maybe it's time to find out. Because here's the truth, no matter how much you give, if someone is never satisfied, it's not your job to keep fishing for more.
Lost in the woods of yesterday, stories where I used to play. Giants and dragons fade away. Now I'm searching for the way, wishing wells and magic beams, secrets hidden in the seams, castles crumbling, losing gleams, all these fragments of my dreams. Once upon a mind we leave behind, fairy tales no longer blind, truth and tales so intertwined. Once upon